Hi and welcome to Psych Exam Help, and my name is Nick Redshaw. Welcome to week 2, lesson 5, Conformity to Social Roles. If you're using one of our workbooks, or if you're using our download, then it's page 25. And don't worry, if you've missed any of the lessons so far, you can catch up on our YouTube channel or on our Twitter site. As you can see, there's a picture of me under the sea. And if you click on Moments, can take a while depending on your internet speed. And if you scroll down, you can see that we've got all of our sort of like weeks, experimental methods, research methods lessons, and so on and so on and so on. Come down, you've got our social influence lessons. And you can catch up on lesson 1, lesson 2, and so on and so on and so on. Okay, another little picture of me with a little bit of a goatee. Obviously don't have a goatee anymore. So, moving on to today's lesson then. Conformity to social roles. Now, for those using the workbook and the download, obviously the workbook has questions, and I will post these questions later. I won't necessarily talk about them in this particular video tutorial. So, conformity to social roles. The learning objectives of this session is conformity to social roles and Zimbardo's research. And having looked last week at why people conform to social influence of the majority within a group, this section will look at why people behave in a certain way depending on their position in society and what is expected of them. So, conformity to social roles. The term social roles refers to roles each of us play within various social groups. For example, teacher or police officer, student. These social roles have an expectation regarding the appropriate behaviour within each role. So the first question, which I will attach to the Twitter on our Psych Exam Help, is thinking about the role of police officer, outline how you would expect a police officer to behave and dress when on duty. Okay, so this is for 2 marks. So here, an application question, you're just being asked to sort of apply your knowledge of conformity to social roles and social influence to how a police officer might dress and act. You might want to sort of like say that, there's normative or informational. I mean, it'll depend on sort of what you want to write. So moving on, what you've written is probably the same as everyone else in the group. How a police officer behaves when they are off duty would be quite different. Therefore, their behaviour conforms to the social expectations of society. According to Fessinger, Pepitone and Newcomb in 1952, this conformity to social roles can lead to de-individuation, where an individual loses their personal identity and acts as one with the group or crowd. In doing so, they become anonymous. According to Zimbardo, 1969, this de-individuation can lead to negative behaviour as people feel less accountable because being in a crowd reduces the likelihood of being identified, and lower self-awareness makes people more likely to follow others. So in other words, being in a crowd, you may think you're not going to get caught. So you can act in different ways, however. And looking at Zimbardo's research then, and I'll post the classroom poster later, again on Psych Exam Help, Zimbardo's 1973 study of conformity in the Stanford prison experiment. And there's some good YouTube videos on this. and I'll post that on Twitter later. So the aim of Zimbardo's research, Zimbardo was interested in seeing whether people conform and obeyed because it was part of their personality, or whether it was due to situational factors. I mean, basically, Zimbardo was interested in why the Germans had done what they'd done in the Second World War. I.e., was it part of their personality? Were they born that way? Or were they conforming to the situation? So, basically, Zimbardo set up a controlled observation. Participants comprised 24 male American undergraduates who volunteered to take part and were randomly allocated to the role of either prisoner or guard. The experiment was made as realistic as possible. The prisoners were arrested in their homes and taken to a police station before being transferred to Stamford County Prison. Once at the mock prison, they were stripped naked, deloused, issued with a prison uniform and given an ID number instead of their name. The guards were all issued with identical uniforms, which included dark glasses, and were given a set of rules, which they were asked to enforce to maintain a reasonable degree of order. The interaction between the prisoners and guards, mood state, self-perception, and coping behaviours were observed as indicators of the degree of conformity to their given roles. Data was collected via videotape, audio tape, direct observation, questionnaires, and interviews. It's quite a range. The results. Zimbardo found an extremely high level of conformity to social roles in both the guards and the prisoners. The guards conformed to a sadistic role, e.g., they readily issued punishments for prisoners' misbehaviour, and their aggression was out of proportion to the threat to prison order posed by the prisoners, who after some initial resistance became passive, excessively obedient, showed flattened mood, and distorted self-perception. Also, the results, some prisoners conformed to their roles by becoming sick, and 5 prisoners had to be released early because of extreme emotional disturbance. Further evidence of prisoner conformity was that 5 experienced a parole board. The study had to be stopped on the 6th day instead of running for 2 weeks, as planned, because of the extreme behaviour of the guards. The conclusion linked back to the aim. Zimbardo concluded that situational factors do have an effect on conformity to social roles. So situational factors, i.e. the prison, the actual situation, as opposed to dispositional factors, i.e. the personality. I'm going to leave it there, and I'll create a second video with the strengths and weaknesses of Zimbardo's research. Okay, bye for now, and make sure you watch the strengths and weaknesses evaluation session.